we're going to get into our lecture. So like I said, first we're going to talk about communication. And then we'll talk about social learning after the break. So what is communication? What is communication? Basically, it's the transmission of information, right? Transmission of useful information between individuals through some kind of have at least some kind of signal produced by a sender to a receiver. So that's like a kind of definition of what communication is. So the important aspect of this definition is you kind of need to have communication from the signal, a sender of that signal, and a receiver of it. Like when you're talking about, you're communicating with them, some kind of information, signal in that case could be what we're saying, what we're speaking, and the two people are the sender and the receiver. Okay, so what is the signal? What is the signal? Signals can be active, but they can also be passive. So communication, I just gave the example of language, human language, but it doesn't necessarily have to be language, right? Communication can be more basic than language. So here, some examples of communication in the animal world, with active signals like courtship displays. When an animal wants to mate with another animal, right, they'll perform courtship display. That's a signal, right? They're ready to mate. They want to mate with the receiver of the signal. Self-induced rapid display, right? Again, the signal there is the display itself. Is the sender of that signal. Those are the signals, right? They're trying to say, when an animal is trying to get away from me, this is my territory, right? But signals can also be passive. They don't have to be active products. So one example of a passive signal might have heard this before. So when unintelligible species have coloration, bright red, bright yellow, right? Insects and venomous snakes, right? They're signaling that they should not be my predator. That's a well-known passive signal. There's still a signal, there's still a sender and a receiver, right? In that case, they're members of different species, right? The prey signaling, a potential prey signaling to a potential predator. So, how they use it. Okay. So what is necessary for communication? So the receiver has to have some kind of perceptual or right, that has red, yellow, and black and alternating bands, they can poisonous. If a predator can't see those colors, or if they can't perceive visually that pattern, right, they won't get the information. So the receiver has to have perceptual or cognitive systems that allow them to extract that information from the signal. Another example is knowing the language that a person is speaking. Okay? I know how to speak English, but if someone is spoken in Mandarin, I don't even know what they're saying. Right? So you need to have signal where you can understand what's happening. And so that kind of leads to a bit of a problem, right? When we're you can be unaware of the communicated signals between animals because they might operate outside of our systems. I kind of talked about how perceptual systems of different animals are different. Our own like when we talked about electromagnetic field perception a while back, right? Humans can't receive electromagnetic fields, so we wouldn't be able to see communication through electromagnetic fields. Now, I think that's a little bit different. But for a long time, researchers had no idea about this kind of communication that was occurring with elephants. So elephants can actually communicate over really long distances. Kind of rumbles where they can communicate different groups of elephants can communicate with each other over pretty large distances. And the reason we didn't know about it is because the frequencies are so low outside of our hearing. And one of the things that really made me start to love elephants. Fun fact, I wanted to research elephants. You can imagine that's actually pretty hard to research elephants. You can't really bring them in the lab. Huge. You usually have to work through a zoo. Even in the wild, they're hard. They're hard to follow. In the desert, no savannah. Okay, so another important term when we're talking about communication and signals is something known as signal set. So that's the number of signals that an individual is capable of sending. So different animals might have different signal sets for the type of communication system you're talking about. And when it comes to human beings, and this is one thing that distinguishes language from a lot of animal communication, is that humans have an signal set with language. Language is very productive. There's no word for a certain concept, a certain feeling, a certain object. Make a new one. Right? Not quite the same for all systems of animal communication. It's unlimited communication. Another part of language that makes communication different, is the ability, or it's called the phenomenon of recursion. So this is a big one. Recursion, we don't find that in a lot of communication systems in animals. So basically recursion is an unlimited extension of meaning. Okay. And you can do that by embedding clauses within clauses. Okay, so we have the two here. Mary saw John. John ate meat. Mary heard meat this morning. These are all separate clauses, meaning different things. But it's possible to combine and embed all of these clauses into one idea. Mary saw John eat meat. He heard this morning. So that's recursion. Some ask if this is what makes human language unique, and many would say that one of the key aspects that makes language unique compared to other forms of communication in the animal kingdom. Because there's limitless expression, recombination units here could be clauses, it could be words, it could be individual morphemes, word for word. But we have kind of this. We can talk about things that aren't in the room with us, right? We can talk about things that don't even exist. We can still communicate those ideas to each other through language. And we haven't found any evidence of that in any other kind of animal communication system. And if you take a psychology of language class, you'll probably learn a little bit of the different aspects of language. Recursion will be one of them, and how it compares to animal communication. They are talking about that. know what is underlying these things. Clearly, that's pretty simple. All right.